Welcome to another Studios podcast. Dale and Grace here. And this week we're going to try a new format. We talk about anime all the time. We talk about the stuff Grace is watching and reviewing all the time. This week we're going to cover Oshi No Ko, the pilot, which for those of you who have seen it is quite unique and also not exactly what the show is about. But there's still plenty to say about it as a standalone piece. Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and jump in? I'd love to get your initial thoughts. Like, what did you hear about it beforehand?
I didn't hear much because I like going in blind, but when we were still considering if I should do reactions to this, you asked me to research it a little bit. So I just researched and I found it's about the dark sides of showbiz. And there's a doctor. That's all I knew. I really didn't know anything. I didn't know it was gonna be. Oh, should we say this like spoilers?
Yeah, spoilers.
Ahead.
Spoilers.
Yeah. If you haven't watched that first episode, go watch it. I didn't know that it was gonna be an isekai, and I didn't know that she was gonna die. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people didn't know that. So I was completely thrown off guard.
By the way, that it was an isekai. I was like, no. And then not just that, but the version, he's his idol's
child
kid. I was like, what? God, I thought it was gonna be super cringy, super sexual, super awkward, and there were some weird and awkward parts.
Only the first episode though. Now that we've come out, it's not awkward anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is, once the kids got a little bit older, like once they were past breastfeeding age, the show's actually decent. They kind of got me. But there's a part of me that thinks, wouldn't the show have been just as good if you just lopped off the first 20 minutes and it wasn't an isekai? And that's the question I keep asking.
I feel like they wanted to make it an isekai just because that gave the doctor a reason to be so passionate. It gave him a reason. But it
also made him a lot smarter and more mature. So it's funny because you're watching Death Note, which is just a regular genius 17-year-old kid. And so this one feels a little bit more appropriate because he's not really 13. He's actually like, whatever, I guess 40 or 50.
Right, which made him get on so well with the director and then, took off his career that he didn't ask for.
Yeah. Very interesting. So to quickly recap, the opening of the show is centered around this doctor who's obsessed with an idol, a Japanese idol, and his patient who has cancer, who's also obsessed with this Japanese idol. And then one day she comes in, the idol, and he's shocked, and she's pregnant at 16. And when that happened, I was like, ooh, interesting. This is very not meta for the anime, Meta right now is like my shonen, My Hero, Demon Slayer.
What is meta? What do you mean meta?
Meta, girl, we talk about all the time. It's a gaming term. Most effective tactics available.
I did not know that. Okay.
Really? I talk about the meta. That means you've just been hearing me say it on a bunch of different things.
I thought meta as in like it's self-commentary.
No.
But you meant... Okay.
Yeah. Like, what's the meta game? That's actually what it is. So what are the most effective tactics in the game of anime? Right now, it's a lot of high school drama, isekai, and, you see what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of that coming out, assuming that's, that's the trend. Which is why I think I was so disappointed, because I heard such good things about the show and was like, why is the anime community so sexually repressed? That's literally the thought that came through my head. I was like, what is going on here that you now have done every version of an isekai with waifus? And I'm a waifu, dude. I got my waifus too, don't get me wrong. But I'm dude, how could you do this?
This whole, it is an interesting thing, and I said it in my reaction video, of how watching this from an American lens, the whole isekai, and then of him being the daughter, the son, and then, having to drink her milk and all that is weird. But from a Japanese perspective, I don't question it. I don't know. When I used to watch animes, and Naruto has a oiroke no jutsu, like a sexy jutsu that makes him a sexy girl, and I never thought anything of it. I was just like, dope. Like that's that. And so I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess
It's a
Maybe
different
I don't know.
strokes for different folks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm also over the isekai thing. I was not a big fan of ReZero. Like, hate on me if you want. I'm not a Rem fanboy. That's not my kind of characters. That just like the maid characters that are just like, I don't know. Yes, badass moments. Don't get me wrong, but really, not my thing. I would say Sword Art Online is the probably that was the first isekai I saw, which is basically your typical I'm in a video game, but it's real,
Yeah. Yep.
But they did something in there that was really powerful about living your second life, like being able to express yourself in ways you can in the real world. That got me. The thing is, everything else that came after didn't really have the same punch because it was the same thing. At least here, it was quite, I guess, a different take. But I want to be clear in saying, like, that's just the first 20 minutes of this thing.
Right.
And the story really evolves to become about, and this is why I'm like, honestly, if I just erase the first 20 minutes, I actually really kind of dug it. And I think it really started to take off once we got into the whole acting and directing thing. Because basically, this kid kind of became her son and loves his mom. And it's a big tragedy at the end when his mom dies. And it wouldn't have hit me if I didn't feel like a mother and her kids. Do you know what I'm saying?
They did establish that. Well, yeah.
I actually loved
That's
the
true.
way they did that scene where the mom... I hated the mom's speech. I hated I's speech like, you're a fan, I remember you. I'm like, dude, no you don't. You're bleeding out. This is bullshit. But then, when she hits the door and she's looking at her kids and she says, I love you to her kids, fine.
Oh my God. No, I know. I'm leaving it again. And the one kid is outside.
That's the best part is because he's an older brother. And so his maturity as a kid, but it works so well. And he's like, no, stay there. Like, he's totally an older brother with the maturity, and I'm an older brother. So I know that feeling. Like, I know those moments where you're just trying to protect. And it got me. I was like, oh.
And, like, hearing the I love you, I also said this in this video. I feel redundant, but love is not a word that's said in Japan. Like, people don't say that. They say like, but they don't say love. And that the fact that this girl who didn't even know what love was and was trying to figure it out through being an idol was finally able to say it. And also, it's really cute, the theme song. I'm like obsessed with it just because it's written specifically for the show. The very last line of it is
records, by the way.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, the very last line of it is like, oh, I finally was able to say it. I love you. And that for sure is not a lie. And she said that at the end. And I'm like, oh, after seeing this scene.
Yeah, I think that story is really powerful. It's like somebody learning how to become a mom, how to love something unconditionally. That's what I mean. I was down with that. And like she goes in this one episode from being a 16-year-old girl who has no idea what she wants to like 22, 23, maturing, understanding how to play the game in her career. I love that aspect. Like she's not that phased when they cut her scene down as an example because she realizes it's a part of the game and she knows. That's the part I like. There was a self-awareness to Ai as she matured that I really appreciated that I think a lot of anime characters don't have. They're just the trope. This was someone who was playing a trope and knew that they were a trope. And I thought that really brought a unique aspect to the story for me. That really did kind of connect all the way through. So, it comes back to, and I'm just like thinking about it as as a storyteller, right? What would I do? Would I also make it an isekai just knowing that that's going to... Because I think we might have. Because our whole shtick is like, wrap it in something they know. Right? And so you give them this is a typical isekai that's going to be all about, the sex jokes and the
wrapped in idol culture.
Oh, yeah.
So I've seen other idol shows. I was expecting that kind of thing where it's like the
With the
montages
songs
of them,
and
the cute songs, the montages of them like training together, running up the stairs together, drinking water. I don't know. I was expecting just like lighthearted stuff like that too.
Yeah, and so it does feel like something I would be into. maybe it is meta in the other sense as well, because it wraps itself in that, and then somewhere in the middle, it gets you with the real stuff, you know? And I actually think it's a very powerful storytelling tactic, because I think if you started the story there, I don't know if people would have watched. Yeah.
Interesting. But now, though, it's falling down the charts.
Well,
It's
yeah, that's
not,
what we've seen, is that the fans are coming out, because and we're really here to discuss the opening, because that's where we are. Now, Grace is going to start watching more episodes, of course, to see if we're going to keep doing it for our reaction content. Let us know in the comments, by the way, if you guys want us to do Oshi No Ko, or if you think there's something more interesting for her to dig into. Obviously, there's millions. So that's what we're trying to figure out. But we've started to see that the hype of it is starting to calm down.
Yeah.
And that, on my anime list, it took number 1, which does bother me because I am a Full Metal Alchemist fanboy. So, and that's why I had to look at it. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How is this possible?
Yeah.
It's higher than Death Note, Full Metal, Attack on Titan, Evangelion, which I don't even know if that's up there, but like those are my favorites and stuff. So, yes, it's now number 11, I believe, is what we saw earlier today, and tapering off. And we'll see. We'll see if it can keep it up, because, again, that's not the story. The main story is about him looking for her murderer, which honestly, I was like, I've seen this before. Like, Erased is a good example. It's like,
oh,
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's why I'm concerned, because the first episode as its own felt so thrilling, because it kept going in different directions. At first, I thought it was going to be about the doctor and her raising the babies and having a secret life, and then all of a sudden it was about her trying to keep a secret that the babies were there, and then all of a sudden she's dead. So, but now
I'll also add that for me, it was an industry movie. I was already like, yes, I love hearing, about my industry. Like, the director is my favorite character, right? And so I don't know if
that's still relevant in the few episodes I've seen. Yeah, they keep it up, and they keep hitting with little truths about the industry, and I'm like, that's what we talk about all the time here. It's pretty cool.
So maybe,
yeah.
We'll see. That's the one thing that I hope stays the same. If it's a commentary on the industry, like a dark satire or something, I'm definitely curious. But the murder mystery part, I don't know.
Yeah, so I feel very mixed about it. I'm not all for it, all excited, but it's kind of keeping me because it's different. And that's, I think the fact that it's different is really what's keeping me.
And it's different just by the world. That's right.
The world, yeah.
Because I'm waiting for the next Demon Slayer show. Like, there's already 2, and then, kind of My Hero's basically the same thing. So you got like all of these, we're going to go be superheroes, kill the bad guys type of thing with a little bit of lore. So it's nice that I'm like, oh, this is just like not that at all, Yeah. And it's interesting, as we're doing Death Note 2, we'll do a separate episode on Death Note, of course, and where we're at there. Because watching you watch Death Note, I'm like, this show is so refreshing. Like, they're really, at the time and even now, like, if it came out today, I think it'd be a mega hit also. It's just really good and sort of refreshing and different. And so many things since have tried to toe the line of Death Note, probably just haven't been executed as well. So it's I do find that interesting. That the world itself can be a reason to keep going. I'll say Tokyo Revengers is kind of like that too, because Tokyo Gang thing. I mean, it's a high school drama, so yet again, there's some tropes in it, but I do think that one is also kind of interesting to me. If you guys want to hear more about that, we're down. What do you think about the characters? Who's your favorite character right now?
Definitely not Ruby.
Let's just say I doesn't count. Oh, so glad you said that. Thank God it wasn't me.
Oh no, not I. I liked.
No, we just can't because she's in one episode. Like, don't count. She don't count. Like looking ahead. Like, who are you most?
I guess I like the manager lady who who stepped in as their mom.
That was also one of again, right?
Because she was
starts
it was
as
so
a trope.
Real. You know, yeah. Being like, I am the wife, and for what?
I'm here for the money.
I'm here for the money, yeah. And then
yes.
she's like, why am I babysitting? And then she steps in and starts to care for them. And I won't say what.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. I said mine earlier. I love the director. Normally, I love the main character type of characters because I'm an INTJ, and so any of the very, the Blue Lock main character, Light from Death Note, any one of the overly analytical, extremely thorough, borderline evil, in Light's case, just actually evil characters, that's me. Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, one of my all-time favorite characters. Walter White also. I know these, is so. I thought I would really like him. I wonder if I'm going to like him in the next few episodes because I obviously, don't, I'm curious where it's going to go because he's not really that type. He's not the like mastermind type, but we'll see where he goes. But from what I've seen so far, I think it's just, maybe it's a little bit of a cheat, but like the director, I'm just like, this is, I know this guy. He's like my homies, Yeah. And he reminds me of like, he's not perfect. He's clearly a mess too. So like Kaji, if people are Evangelion fans, Kaji is one of my favorite characters. And he's also like he's got some swagger, you know what I mean? But he's kind of a mess and he's a bit aloof, but deep down, he's the man. I hope that the director stays a character, doesn't disappear. And he also is the man, but we'll see where it goes from there. But I think the mom's a great pickup too.
The manager.
And by far my least favorite's like Ruby. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I think she's meant to be the most tropey. I don't know what her arc is going to be.
I don't know if she's going to go and become an idol and then
it's just so flat, I guess. She's just a pity party the whole time. One note. And then I already am in that place where I'm like, God, how has it been like 15 years and you haven't just told them who you were? I know that's going to be a big moment, but I just feel like it's writing.
That's true.
It's just writing for the sake of like, we're going to milk and tease this out. Come on.
Yeah, if you've been siblings that long. Yeah, I feel like that would have come out.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So there's maybe a little bit of that to it with her character that I'm not about.
I feel like you would start, having seen the future episodes, you might like Aqua. He's he's not like super smart, but he is pretty smart in what he's doing and very analytical of the situations he's in.
Yeah. The other character that we didn't touch on, also not one of my favorites, but I did love, like not my favorite kind of personality, but I kind of actually dug it, is the child actress. I just love that she like gets pissed off at the end and is like, I'm gonna get better, but it's not, that could either be really annoying or really cool. That's how I look at it, depending on where they go.
I did not like her, but
yeah, you're not meant to like her. I'm talking about like interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of some of the characters in Your Lie in April. Shout out if you guys know Your Lie in April, it's amazing. The other piano players that were going to the like the girl and the guy that like were I love that competition stuff. Or like if you're watching a good sports anime, so that I found curious too. So yeah, I guess last thing to say is where we think it might go. Now you might be a little bit ahead of me. But I mean, right now, all you have is that it's a murder mystery, I did start watching the second episode, so I do know that she's like thinking about becoming an idol. Okay, so maybe that's that, and he's trying to, find the murderer. But I have no, there's no hot takes I have so far. I think the first episode had enough twists and turns in it that they're going to have to reset and start getting us to ask new questions. So we'll see
Yeah.
where I'm at after the next few episodes.
It feels like slice of lifey almost, where I think in comparison to the first episode, because so much happened, now it feels like it's slowed down and it's like one thing at a time. But each episode, it's like pretty different things that are happening. I don't know where to set my expectations.
Interesting.
We'll see. Yeah.
So as always, if this video brought you any value, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Consider checking out some of the other content we have on our channel. We'd love to get your thoughts on it as well as we build this community. With that said, we'll be back next week, and we'll catch you guys then. Have a good one.